Oh, and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation, guys. It is match day. It is a Saturday match day. I mean, I can't remember the last time we had a Saturday match day. And you know what you're probably going to say? It was last week or it was 2 weeks ago. Probably was just, I don't know. When you get old, you forget things. You do. And I'm getting old and I forget stuff. So, there we go. Anyway, it is Saturday. It is a match day. It is football as God intended it at 3 o'clock on a Saturday. It doesn't get much better than that. And today's visitors to Ibrox are Dundee, not of the United variety, not of the tangerine variety, but of the navy blue variety, with your old uncle, Alky Uncle Tony, coming with his team to play against yours. So look, we're going to look ahead obviously to the game. We're going to sort of look at a bit of the background of the fixture. We're going to look obviously as well, kind of just sketch over what Philippe Clement had to say at the presser today. A presser that was largely taken over by discussion around the VAR incident, obviously from the final last Sunday, which I don't think is a surprise because given the fact this is the first chance the media have had to sit down and speak to the Rangers boss, Philippe Clement, I think it would have been very unusual, wouldn't it, if there hadn't been a single mention, a single mention of this of the incident. It had obviously it's been discussed beforehand, but it's the first chance the media have had a chance to question Philippe Clement on it. And I thought Philippe handled it very, very diplomatically and very well. I think he said as much as he could say. He was obviously holding back, but he can't come out and probably say what he is truly thinking. He can't come out and say what he is truly feeling about the whole thing because it's not what managers do. It's not how managers behave these days. It just isn't the way, and he doesn't want to land himself in trouble with the SFA. He doesn't want to land himself in trouble with anybody, in terms of him making any comments. I think he was right, 100% right, when he said for us it's now really important to focus on a very important game against Dundee. We need to focus on what we have been doing to get the 3 points against Dundee. He's right. That is absolutely key. We've got to kind of look. Nothing is going to happen as a result of that admission by Willie Collum that the referees, the VAR assistants, and the AVAR got it wrong. And it was unacceptable. Nothing is going to, come of that. The result is not going to change. They're not going to replay the game. They're not going to give us the cup. One sort of thing I did agree with Philippe Clement on what he said in that presser was that he talked about the fact that they've been talking about this decision all across Europe and it's not very good for the credibility of the Scottish game, which is true. It isn't. It makes the Scottish game look a bit of a pub league, which is not what we want. However, he was right about one thing. It was a shame considering it was a fantastic game between two good teams, and that's what we've got to kind of try and get back to. If we're really going to market Scotland and the Scottish League, in particular the Old Firm, to the wider world and to bring more money into the Scottish game, then we've got to have a situation where the talking point coming out of an Old Firm game is the two teams and the game itself, and not what a match official did. It was interesting as well. A media person, or whether maybe a normal media or maybe a fan media, I don't know, asked the question that do you not want to use that game as a fuel, as a motivation? And Philippe Clement said said he was right. He says we don't need motivation. We want to win the game. We need to raise the bar for every time we play. We are prepared really well for Dundee, and he's right in that aspect that we don't. We've got to get away from, the situation that, yes, it was an injustice. Yes, it was bad. But you know what? I'll tell you this. If you keep dwelling on something like that, an incident like that, a bad incident, and I speak from life experience here, from someone who has been through, in the last, 8 years, just a hell of a journey from where I was 8 years ago to where I am today. And it's a journey that still continues. It's a journey that still is not complete for me. If you dwell too much on incidents from the past, they will eat you alive. And I'm speaking from experience here. Things have happened in my past that I didn't, that affected me and affected me greatly. And things affecting that are occurring now within my family, that are affecting me greatly. But you can't dwell on those things too much, because if you dwell on things and you dwell on injustices, or you dwell on things that went badly in the past, they will absolutely rip you apart and eat you up, and you can't allow it to happen in the case of this. And Rangers players, Rangers fans, Rangers board, Rangers, management cannot allow this to happen. They've got to move on. They've got to focus, solely on moving this team forward, as moving the club forward, putting this club back where it belongs, back on the top of the Scottish game, putting the green and white side of the city firmly back in their box, and making them understand they are second best and they always will be second best. So that's what we've got to do, and that's what the mission has to be now. And Clement spoke again about the team developing physically, mentally, tactically, etc., etc. And there has, in recent weeks, been an improvement in performances. As much as you may hate losing to Celtic, and I hate it as much as any of you, and it made me feel shit for a good few days after that game. As well as we did play, in fact, we still lost. Made me feel like shit, but. At the end of the day, we've got to move on. We've got to move on, and we've got to take the positives out of it, because if we don't, then I'll tell you this, again, it's going to destroy the club. And we've got to take the positives out of it, that we are moving forward, that there is a positivity now around the club, that there is much more positivity around the playing squad, and we do seem to be moving forward. And that has got to be good for Rangers, as we progress forward. Right, looking at today's game against Dundee, the record against Dundee is a very, very good one. So we've got two graphics there. One is all games at home and at Dens Park, the ground that is affected by global warming, whereas obviously Tannadice isn't. And also on the right-hand side of the screen there, or left, depending on which way you look at it, is the stats to do with Ibrox, and the Dundee Rangers Ibrox record. Sip of tea there. I think we can all agree that those figures show one thing and one thing only, which is an absolute dominance by Rangers of this fixture. Rangers are the dominant force in this fixture, and Dundee, yes, Dundee have spent time in the Championship and have spent time out of the top league, as of Rangers, of course. And there's been years gone by when we haven't played each other, which obviously affects the number of games. But in terms of our overall record against them, in all fixtures, we played them off 50 times. We've won 39 of 50, so well over 3/4 of the fixtures we've actually won against Dundee. 4 Dundee wins and 7 draws. So even draws is beating the number of Dundee wins. In terms of goals, well, we have massively outscored them, averaging over 2 goals a game, 123 goals. They've only scored 29, so less than a goal a game. Nearly less than a goal every other game, which is pretty poor. At Ibrox, 25 games have taken place at Ibrox. We've won 22 out of 25 games. That is an absolutely incredible record, an absolute dominant record for Rangers against Dundee. I mean, that's an 88% win percentage. They've only won 2 games and there's been 1 draw. In terms of goals, again, we've nearly scored average 3 goals a game at 70 goals in those 25 games. They've scored but 13, which is just over 1 every other game. So you can see the dominance there, the absolute dominance. In terms of the last time Dundee actually beat us at Ibrox, I don't know if anyone can remember that fixture, but it was back in 2001. It was on the 14th of March 2001, a game that ended 2-0 to Dundee at Ibrox. Bit of a shock that day. The Rangers team that day contained a lot of top quality stars, names that you would think would never lose to Dundee. Stefan Kloss was in goal. An absolutely awesome goalkeeper. At the back of the defence was Lorenzo Amoruso, big ammo, but Conterman, there was a weak link. Craig Moore, Scott Wilson and Sergio Perini. The midfield was Barry Ferguson and Alan Johnston, and the forwards were Stephen Carson, Tor Andre Flo and Marcus Gale, and the manager was Dick Advocat. Yes, there were some weaker players in that team, but overall that team should have had more than enough to win. The Dundee team that day contained some star players in that day. Marco Raccati was their goalkeeper. Their back four was their back five, was it 4? I don't know. The back 5 was Morocco, Garrido, Coyne, Barry Tweed, Barry Smith. Their midfielders were Javier Otero, Giorgio Nemzadze, Gavin Ray, Claudio Caniggia, who obviously then went to play for Rangers, and Juan Sara. Some high quality players. And their manager that day was a guy called Ivano Benetti. The goals for Dundee were scored by Claudio Caniggia and Stephen Milne in that game. Subs that we brought on: Billy Dodds, Bob Malcolm, and Yanni Capula. Capilla, whatever he was called. Not a very good player from what I remember. But yeah, so, look, at the end of the day, a poor performance that day, obviously, to lose to Dundee. Craig Moore was sent off in the 48th minute as well of that game to compound our misery. So 2002, you've got to go back 2001, 23 years for the last Dundee victory at Ibrox. Let's hope it becomes 24 this season. Now, looking across the last few fixtures at Ibrox, they have scored a very limited number of goals, only 4 goals in that limited sample. You can see they're back to 2015, 2016. Looking over this last few things, obviously we've met them this season in the League Cup. We beat them 3-0 quite comfortably. 5-2 at the end of last season, including that, was it a cross, was it a shot, Todd Cantwell goal. 3-1 in the league, 1-0 win in the quarterfinals of the Viaplay, a 3-0 win in the Premiership in 2021-22, in 18-19, a 4-0, another 4-0, another 4-0, another 4-1, a 1-0, a 4-0. So overall, in the majority of these games, there has been an awful lot of goals. So we can but hope today that there is another reign of Rangers goals. The record, like I said, is very, very, very good against Dundee. In terms of Dundee's record and where Dundee are at the moment, if we look at the league table going into this weekend's fixtures, obviously that lot from across the city sit top. Aberdeen second, haven't played a game more. 2 points clear of Rangers. Obviously, if we win our game in hand, we go back above Aberdeen. Yes, we are still 11 points behind Celtic, which is a shame. But we could cut that to 8 tomorrow because Celtic don't play till the Sunday. Time to put some pressure on them, boys. Dundee sits 7th in the table with a 5-4-7 record. 19 points this season. 5 wins, 4 draws, 7 defeats. Their recent record is not great, to be honest with you. 2 wins, 1 draw, and a defeat last time out. Dundee won 4-1 against Hibernian, who had a player sent off, a very poor Hibernian side. Drew 1-1 at Rugby Park, which, is a result that doesn't carry a lot of shame because Rugby Park, as we know, is a difficult place to go. In terms of the last game from the Dens Park, it was a 4-1. Their last away game ended in a 2-0 defeat to Hearts, with Lawrence Shankland getting both the goals. Lawrence Shankland actually played in the 10 role that day rather than up top, and did very, very well indeed and scored twice. Well done, Lawrence Shankland. But yeah, so look, their away record's not great, and I don't think many people are expecting them to come to Ibrox and cause much of a problem for Rangers today. I think, again, it'll be low block, it'll be time wasting, it will be looking to make the game as disjointed as possible because they know that if a football match breaks out, they're going to get their arses handed to them, quite simply. Obviously, a player to watch out for today, Lyle Cameron, the youngster for Dundee, a player that I know Rangers have been interested in, and certainly, a player that I would welcome Rangers signing going forward, a very talented young Scottish player. Look, this is my lineup today. Look, I've given up trying to predict Philippe Clermont's line. I think he'll probably go with Proper and Balogun in central defence. But I would go like this today. I would put, obviously, Tavernier, obviously, Butland in goal, picks himself. Back four of Tavernier, Sterling, Balogun and Yilmaz. I agree with a lot of people. I think Proper is okay for European games and even games against Celtic to some extent, but not the real kind of hammer thrower, kick it, foul, push, shove, delay, spoil, games that we come up against the majority of weeks. That's not really his style. He struggles with that physicality. So I would go with Sterling in there. Sterling can play centre-back. He has played centre-back. He ain't going to get out-muscled. He's quick. He's big. He's positionally aware. I think he certainly could play there. And he has done it, I think, a couple of times this season as a substitute. Leon Balogun in alongside him to organise, to coordinate, to control. And I'd put Ridvan Yilmaz in there at left-back. I think we need to get, given what happened to Ridvan on Sunday, I genuinely think that he needs to get out there and playing as soon as possible. The more you sit him on the bench, the more you kind of don't start him, the more that the whole penalty miss will fester and, could inexorably damage his confidence. So for me, I'd be putting Ridvan out there today at left back. My midfield three, well, I think, Raskin obviously has to play. If Raskin's fit, he's got to start every game. He's been probably our best midfielder in the last sort of month or so. Diamonde alongside of him. As much as I love Connor Barron, I just think that Barron and Raskin make it a little bit too defensive. Home against Dundee, you can't do that. You've got to go a bit more attacking, and I think Dio gives you a bit more attacking options. Yanis Hadji in the more advanced role in the midfield. Cherny one side, Danilo the other, and Obviously, Hamza Igaman up front. I think that front three just provides so much movement, so much, good link play, so much linking with Hadji, and just some quality interplay that unlocks those tough defences. I think if you play Dessers, you don't get the movement, you don't get the interplay, you just don't get quality forward play. You get, I don't know, Sunday League forward play. So for me, you've got to start with Hamza up top, Danilo one side, and Cherney the other. Really go for Dundee today. Look, Dundee are there for the taking. They really genuinely are. And I think, a Rangers playing like we've done over recent weeks, a Rangers playing with a fluidity, a speed, and a movement, and, a linking of play there. I think, we'll put Dundee away quite comfortably today. I'm going to go 4-0 Rangers today. Hamza Igman to get the first goal. Look, guys, it's a game that we should be winning. It's a game that we should be putting up plenty of goals in. A game that we should be doing some damage to the goal difference. So let's hope that can continue today. Well, we'll hopefully be back for a live watch along at 2:50. It depends on what time I get away from work today. I'm at work. I've started work at 3 a.m. this morning. So if you are watching this video at 6 or 7, please know I've been at work for the last 3 to 4 hours. I did this video before coming to work. Which was really early in the morning. Thanks for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation, guys. As always, please smash the like, sub to the channel, comment, share, do all that great stuff. Please help the channel to grow. The bigger we get, the more views we get, the more money that comes in for you views. I'm not asking you to pay for the channel. I'm not asking you for, for donation, for money to watch content. I don't ask you for money to pay to watch. So the best way we can get money in is through, through super chats, super thanks, super stickers, but also, through views and memberships. 99p for a membership. That's it. Right, guys, thanks for watching. The sooner we get more views, the sooner we get more money into the channel, the sooner I can go full time and bring you more and more Rangers content. Thanks for watching. As always, please remember, we are the people.